I'll just start it by saying hello to everybody again, and then hello to the YouTube Zokchimpas. All the participation on there has been really cool to see that kind of come to life. So I hope you'll continue to connect, comment, stop by the group. This is a real dream come true to have this little sangha happening in a kind of high-tech way. So again, this is As It Is, words by Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche, translated by Lama Eric Pema Kunsang. And so far, it's been a really nice text. I hope you enjoyed as much as I have. It says, blessings and enlightenment. Back to a Q&A here. The student says, could Rinpoche explain exactly what blessing is? Rinpoche says, what people usually consider blessings are what I would call superficial blessings. Often when you have something you want to get rid of, you might ask, please bless me to be free from what I don't like. This can be or attacked by evil spirits. It can also be as mundane as one's business not going well, and so on. People ask for protection cords to wear around their necks, sacred medicine to eat, maybe a ritual to be performed. When they are cured, when the evil spirits have been repelled, the business is going well again, or whatever, they'll say, I got the blessings. These are known as conventional blessings. On the other hand, true blessings are the oral instructions on how to become enlightened in a single lifetime, which you can receive from a qualified master. Hold up, please. Somehow this sentiment has been forgotten and abandoned, and the gatekeepers have managed to erect even higher walls. This is the sentiment that we're supposed to be coming with in Dzogchen. We're talking about complete freedom in one lifetime. It's not a superficial pursuit. Many of you just happen to stumble upon it. You got lucky. You met with a path that really works when there's a lot of stuff that doesn't work out there. But this is no joke. You use this awareness practice. Your conditioned self is nothing but a pattern. It's a programming that cycles, as well as emotions, thought, baggage, whatever gets in your way in life. It will liberate, self-liberate within awareness. Your trust, your recognition, and familiarization with awareness as the nature of mind is the only kind of factor. But to me, he just comes out and says it. The true blessing is receiving the pointing out instructions, familiarizing with the nature of mind, and having a liberated mind. It's almost, I almost feel like I'm sinning even talking about it in these times where everybody's out to corrupt our minds. Here I am kind of like Che, this is revolutionary stuff here. We can free our minds rather than becoming more prisoners. But this group is also, by the way, I feel like shown me a lot about the conventional blessings too. Every time we mention a name in here or do some practices for people, incorporate our compassion into this life using the group, it's very, very powerful. I've come to believe in a whole nother layer. Like there's more to this iceberg than the tippy top that we may see. And these are things that even though I grew up around Vajrayana Buddhism, I was very skeptical of a lot of stuff. And so I feel like the lineage and the teachers and whoever I've connected with in regards to other dimensions, whatever might be out there, I don't know, but it does kind of help you out and protect you and things like that. But it's the awareness practice itself that I think gives the true blessing. Yeah. It gives the true protection. It gives you wisdom, insight that will redirect your entire life from something confusing and perhaps destructive, misguided, to, wow, I feel pretty good nowadays. And for some of us who have come from very dark kind of childhoods, that's a miracle. It's a true miracle. So consider, please, let me back up a little bit. It says here, received from a qualified master. That means uh, it's probably going to be through a lineage, and whether you've gotten pointing out instructions or not, um, this just means that you're getting them from somebody who has a pretty strong familiarization with the nature of mind and emptiness, okay? And as long as the guide, the teacher, the master has a strong, at least one foot into empty cognizance, then I think you can be reminded of your own Buddha nature. Yeah. So consider, please, that the body we have right now is a precious human body. In this world, there are countless sentient beings. Among all of them, the best form the best form to have is this precious human body. It's very hard to obtain this again and again. Only if you have created sufficient merit in past lives can you be born in this body that we have now. It is impossible to obtain a precious human body through demerit, through unwholesome karmic actions. It is only through incredibly great positive karma that we can arrive in a human body. Having been born as a human is like arriving on an island of jewels. But if we don't take any of them, if we just keep our hands crossed over our chest and go home, then what? Having been born as a human, it is important to make it meaningful. How do you make it meaningful? By practicing a spiritual path. Unless you do life is that of an ordinary human. So you don't want to be a puny, ordinary human, do you? An ordinary human is a being who has a human body and looks human. If that life is not combined with a spiritual path, its aims are actually no different from those of an animal. Among all human beings, we now have a precious human body. We can listen to teachings when they are being explained. We can also put them into practice. Wasting a precious human body is a great loss. There couldn't possibly be any greater failure. Yeah, and I know some of you may still be open to past life stuff and rebirth, yet haven't seen strong enough validation or proof for it. Totally understandable. You're not required to believe anything in Dzogchen, but what I'll tell you is the chances are very likely that you're gonna get proof for past and future life stuff. You're gonna see completely, have the insight, so you'll know how difficult it is to have a working body and to connect with the Dharma as well. It's um, yeah. I mean, most of you could probably put it into perspective, even though it seems like going on 8 billion people on this earth, right? Something like that. It may seem like a lot, but compared to many other insects and species, it's not that much. Um, and the time we have, we're kind of right in our mind and right in our body is very limited. So again, to be connecting with the teachings like this, we're very fortunate. So truly and honestly, I would definitely encourage you to practice the Dharma. To practice the Dharma means chiefly to nurture the qualities of trust, diligence, and insight. Trust is to have confidence in the teachings and the ones who taught them, in the Buddha and in the Sangha, the upholders of the teachings. Diligence is that which carries you through to completion. Otherwise, in any job you do, It is never completed if you begin and don't finish. Insight is the outcome of listening to teachings, thinking about them, and applying them. So, insight is synonymous with vipassana, but I'd like to say that just by abiding in awareness, um, we're almost 30 years down the road from when this talk was given. So we're in a little bit of a different cultural and worldly context. Um, Here we're pretty much on the level of, I don't know, maybe you're listening to the teachings and thinking about them and applying antidotes still, but most of you don't need to apply antidotes. You can just use, I mean, we have so much here: the three modes of liberation, the four methods of effortless abiding, the four great samayas. We have we have a whole toolbox here, or tool basket, and there's really no need to go back to provisional and causal antidotes. And that's why I invite you, if you have a strong connection with this awareness practice, it's really resonating with you, it comes natural. Even if you feel it in your heart and you don't understand on the surface everything, stay with it, but fully come into this effortless abiding, come into the not doing practice, um, into realizing your Buddhahood as being present here. It has never not been Buddhahood. And I know that's tricky because we build an entire world on top of or within pure consciousness. It's very difficult to see this experience as pure luminosity, which it is, including your body. It's a pure luminosity, but we tend to solidify it and objectify it and really construct it, similar to in a dream where we can actually touch things somehow and smell things and talk to people, yet they are nothing but luminous mind, kind of mind light. So vipassana really comes from stabilizing in awareness. So the only important part in Dzogchen, in my opinion, is shamatha. If you can do shamatha and Dzogchen, stabilize in awareness, then vipassana always comes naturally, what they call spontaneous wisdom. Okay? So when you hear something and you gain confidence in that, then you have insight, which is the knowledge resulting from learning. Thinking it over is the knowledge from reflection. Finally, there's knowledge acquired through meditation practice, which means personal experience through training. Trust is indispensable, and to mistrust is a great shortcoming. One might be quite insensitive, like someone who sees Buddhas and Bodhisattvas flying in the sky and says, they're just showing off. Or if you see a creature lying with its stomach open and entrails falling out, you might just shrug and say, it's his own karma. After all, everybody dies. If one has no compassion and no trust, it is very hard to penetrate the heart of the Dharma, the great middle way there. You understand that it's karma, and this person is kind of entangled within karma, but you don't lose compassion. So develop appreciation from the core of your heart, even towards four lines of the Buddha's teachings. Think how wonderful this is. This is incredibly precious. I think the four lines may be the Four Noble Truths. When you regard others, always try to regard them like this: they are my own parents, yet they suffer. What can I do? I will make it my responsibility to help them. In this way, train in compassion towards all sentient beings, not merely as a platitude, but from the core of your heart. Compassion and devotion should not be a mere show, but sincere. Trust in the teachings of the Buddha means pure appreciation. Honestly, it is completely amazing that through a few words of the teachings, we can make a difference. When we truly apply the teachings, it can change the causes for rebirth into lower realms. In other words, the Dharma can overturn the depths of samsara. This is the level at which trust arises, and this is the kind of trust that is necessary. It is also possible to fake faith and devotion and insincerely mutter platitudes like, "How wonderful." These empty words do no one any good. We need to have trust that this is so penetrating that tears come to our eyes and hairs on our bodies stand on end, and simply remaining passive seems difficult for us. Words alone will not help. When thinking of other beings, we should try to have genuine compassion, reflect that they are our parents and that they simply don't know what to do. Because they have no idea about the ultimate truth, the true state of samadhi, they create immense pain and suffering for themselves. They wander about from one life to another in samsaric states that are like links in an endless chain. When one truly and sincerely feels like that, tears come to one's eyes. This overwhelming emotion is the kind of compassion that is necessary. And I'm willing to bet that that compassion is hiding underneath our divisive thinking. We have maybe not you in the group or part of the YouTube mandala. I feel like many of you have a very, very strong compassion, but um, all of us have experienced lack of compassion, and it's usually due to some thoughts in our head that keep us kind of picking who to have compassion for and who not to have compassion for, or when to have it and when not to have it. But many of you in this Dzogchen group have probably felt overwhelming compassion for the smallest situations. It could be somebody that's passing by in a car that's not so good, or a dog that is lost, or a little tiny fly caught in a spider web. The compassion can be really, really profound and deep when we get out of its way. Mhm. And then there's so much beauty and compassion in the hardest times too, even though that's contrary to our programming and to the Abrahamic kind of spyware that's been installed in our mind. But yes, these divisive approaches, whether it's hating on each other because of politics, looks, skin color, skin tone, religion, any of that is utterly ridiculous. But compassion can also take on many forms. It can be very wrathful too. So that's what we see when we see these so-called hard times everywhere. It's people's own compassion that they're kind of dealing with. It's their own mind trying to bring them back home. They've strayed from that mind through love of war or love of sex and desire for sensual things, seeking freedom and completion in sense objects that are empty, impermanent, destined to be gone. Same with the high that we get from sense interactions. It's so temporary. Compared to what we're dealing with here, your natural state is a million times more pleasant. It feels better than any sense object could ever give you. But there is a threshold that crossing into that where it may seem kind of boring, or you know, it may seem a little like unentertaining in regards to comparing it to samsara. But you're just in a threshold there. It will get entertaining. Even sitting 10 minutes still doing nothing is amazing. And when you're resting in luminosity. So Victor's saying, Dawei, all beings are our mothers and fathers. That resonates with me. Oh, that's great, Victor. Yeah, by the way, I hope I didn't miss any of your comments the other day. We're kind of it was very, very busy, and I saw a few of your comments, and I remembered that they kind of went past without me reading them. So anytime you want to bring those back around, if you need to, you can. But yeah, isn't that a wildly radical way to look at it? That all parents have been our parents. Yes, it's totally logical. No, all sentient beings have been our parents, and if you consider the connections, that's why everybody who connects through YouTube and through joining the group, I always praise that so much because I know how hard it is. They used to say it's like there's an egg yolk in the middle of the ocean and a turtle randomly rises up. The chances of that turtle going straight through that egg yolk are the same as you meeting with the Dharma. So, but I blame compassion. I think if you're very compassionate, and then you're naturally not going to be harmful and stir up a bunch of bad karma. Even when you do, you're not really going to get a strong karmic reprimand because your initial intention was pure, right? So compassion, I feel like, gives you a big up and in regards to rebirth and connecting with the teachings. But if you've connected with Dzogchen, then I feel like that is very, very special, or the Dharma in general. But this is Ati, the ninth dhyana. And yeah. Anyway, I could probably go on and on about that. It's very amazing to see. So it says here the individual whose stream of being is filled with overwhelming compassion for sentient beings and devotion to the enlightened one's will, without any doubt, receive the blessings of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. To superficially act as if one pities sentient beings and respects enlightened ones is merely pay lip service to this is not enough to receive the blessings. It has to be 100% sincerity. Some signs of receiving the blessings within one's stream of being are that you no longer have to try to feel compassion. The feeling arises spontaneously. That's what I just meant. It's there naturally underneath our contrivances. So, nor do you have to deliberately try to be respectful. It also comes naturally. And this, I wish that all the YouTubers out there, all these influencers and everybody knew that if they just acted natural, everything would be fine. But everything feels so sugar coated and contrived now. All these channels on YouTube, they're really fake. And that started with the TV era. We act prim and proper in front of everybody, but then behind closed doors, we are a whole different person. My teacher once told me that let your conduct be outside among people just like it is when you're at home by yourself. Let those two be in harmony. So Kenshin Seiwan Gyatso. So let's see here. So those are the signs. To trust the consequences of karma is the actual accomplishment of Dharma practice. And remember, we're also in, he's talking about the four thoughts that turn the mind to Dharma here, or at least one of the thoughts so far. So we are dealing with Nundro, which is a provisional practice, still dealing with cause and effect. If you've ventured into releasing causality, then just keep that in mind. You don't need to reapply causality if you've already starting to abandon causality. Now, we're not abandoning our adherence to karma. We're just kind of getting in that flow state where we're naturally respectful, naturally compassionate. So why would you need to pay attention to every little karmic outcome? You don't need to, because you're naturally compassionate. So you just know every outcome's going to be just fine as long as your kindness and wisdom is there. So authentic accomplishment means to be compassionate and devoted. Yeah, and by the way, a lot of us have good reason not to trust in the world of spirituality, religion, mind science, anything. Many teachers out there, many clergy have been so abusive and called out. We're living in a whole different age now where it's harder to hide these abuses, thankfully. And really, I understand if you don't trust as much. That's why I ask you to trust awareness and trust the evidences and proofs that you're getting along the way. Okay? You don't really need to go all in with a guru or a teacher. You don't. And you do have many lamas out there, teachers that you can trust, but you have to get to know people before you can just automatically trust them. Uh, Trust mainly comes in handy when you're dealing with your mind. You see, um, you need somebody you can talk to about your mind and your life experiences, who's not going to go and mislead you or be insincere towards you when they give you advice. You need somebody who really, really cares about you. Like many consider me a teacher, their teacher, and one thing that they have guaranteed is that I'll never stop caring about them, and I will always be there. They will always be able to reach out and get a response from me. So it says here, you may hear that someone is clairvoyant, that they make precise divinations or can do small miracles or read other people's minds. This kind of thing is not a true accomplishment, not at all. It is something special. Oh, excuse me. It is nothing special. Okay. Many ordinary people get certain spirits. It's not that rare for this to happen. They may not have any trust in the enlightened ones or any compassion towards sentient beings. They may lack trust in the karmic consequences of their actions. Yet such people still have the reputation of having blessings and powers of accomplishment, and still their mind stream may remain like solid stone, insensitive towards others, uncompassionate, with no true appreciation for the sacred teachings. They may be attached to nothing other than samsaric states. From the moment they wake up until the moment they fall asleep, they try to get the better of their enemies and help only their own friends. This is described as being blessed by formless spirits. Hmm. Gotta watch those formless spirits. So, in contrast, you may not have much knowledge of the Dharma, but if you have trust in the three jewels and kindness towards other beings, while acutely understanding that in this life nothing lasts forever, you have already received the blessings of the three jewels. What it really comes down to, have we or have we not received their blessings? Otherwise, merely to know a lot of teachings usually results in nothing but conceit of thinking. I've practiced so much, so many years of shamatha and samadhi. If people who have a lot of practice behind them become only more miserly and stingy, it is proof that the teachings have not taken effect and that they have no blessing. Yeah, this might go for some of those newer teachers coming out that are charging $600 for 2 days of Dharma talk and things like that. You may want to reconsider that. This is not the prosperity gospel, okay? All right, so it looks like we've arrived at the Q&A. Student, what exactly is enlightenment? Rinpoche. There are different levels of enlightenment. There is the enlightenment of an arahat, of a mahabodhisattva, and the complete and perfect enlightenment of a Buddha. The 5 paths and the 10 bhumis are progressive stages that gradually lead to complete and perfect enlightenment. The way to complete is by unifying means and knowledge, which are great compassion and insight into emptiness. Okay, there it says means and knowledge. They mean skillful means and wisdom. The unification of skillful means and wisdom, which is typically represented in so many places, right? We see the masculine, feminine, masculine being skillful means, feminine being wisdom. We see the bell and the dorje. We see lots of imagery. So, when emptiness and compassion are indivisible, then that itself is the true path to the complete and perfect enlightenment of a Buddha. Now, compassion is immensely profound because it's a fact that we are related to all other beings, not only in a general way, but also deeply, in that there is not a single sentient being who, at one point or another, through our innumerable past lives, hasn't been our own mother. We are thus connected by a link of great love, but at the same time, by not knowing how to avoid the causes for suffering and further rebirth in samsara, all sentient beings are on a totally mistaken path. When you take the universal pain to heart in a genuine way, there's no way you can turn your back on the suffering beings and feel that it is enough to attain enlightenment just for yourself. Okay, so there's no Shravaka approach, I think, of an arhat, where you just get enlightened for yourself. So compassion is thus extremely important in practicing the path. At the time of complete enlightenment, it is out of compassion that the activity for the welfare of others takes place. Through having realized Dharmakaya for the benefit of oneself, and by clearly seeing the state of others' being and what is needed, a Buddha manifests continuous activity for the benefit of others. They don't just sit back and relax. All this skillful activity springs out of compassion. The great master Karmapa Rangjung Dorje expressed another reason for compassion in the sense of compassion being love. In the moment of love, our empty essence nakedly dawns. I think we can end it there. Looks like a pretty long answer to this question of what is enlightenment, and we shall return. Thank you so much, everyone, for your presence today, for hanging out in another nice little Dharma transmission, Dharma session.